Back at Love Field as we continue to analyze this new iteration of Southwest Airlines with new boarding, new assigned seats. A couple of things to note. A lot of great comments in my last couple of videos that referenced what's the problem. They're just like every other airline now. And myself and all the other Southwest Airlines superfans would say that's exactly the problem. Southwest was standing out instead of blending in. And now they just blend in with all of the others. They have a more hectic boarding process. They nickel and dime you to get a better seat. Still amazing to me that somebody would pay $71 to sit 10 rows ahead on the same flight going to the same location, but that's where we are. So what I have is several tips for Southwest Airlines to improve their boarding process. So we'll start running through those now. So let's look at the new boarding process. I think the first thing that Southwest Airlines needs to do is get a better handle on the number of people in each group. And so the first couple of times I've boarded, Group 1 has had close to 40 people, which is obviously 10 people more than the old A1 through 30. And so I think Southwest really needs to try to limit it to no more than maybe 20 per boarding group, and that would alleviate a lot of the headaches that are currently happening. And I think the main way to do that is that Group 1 would be A-list preferred, and maybe the people that booked the most expensive flight, the old Business Select A through 115. And then Group 2 would then be A-list, and maybe that bleeds into Group 3. But I think the problem with that is that Southwest has said that all A-list people will be either Group 1 or Group 2. So I would say Southwest should go A-list preferred Group 1, A-list Group 2, and then that should help to eliminate some of the traffic that they're seeing on boarding Group 1 with 40 people in it. I think the second thing that Southwest Airlines needs to do, again, is to stand out instead of blend in and get rid of charging for bags. This is one of the big things that caused a lot of concern when Southwest first announced that they would start charging for bags instead of their historical bags fly free. And what this is doing is creating more people carrying on their bags. And then what happens when more people carry on their bags? Well, you have limited bin space. And so that would be the second thing that I would recommend, that Southwest will actually get more revenue by not charging for bags, because they will get a lot of those people that now will shop American, Delta, United, Alaska, where you have to pay for bags. And so my guess would be that revenue would go up even if they stop charging for bags, because they will get more flyers on board. All right, quick intermission here as we board to Washington Reagan. For some reason I'm Group 2 today instead of Group 1. Not sure why. A-list preferred, but that's okay. But you'll see a big line in Group 1, but then nobody in Group 2. So that kind of goes to my theory that Southwest is misassigning the number of people in each group. So you have a bunch of people lined up for Group 1, but then nobody lined up for Group 2 right now. All right, Group 1 is boarding, but apparently I'm the only one in Group 2. It's kind of weird. All right, so interesting revelation. I was the only person in Group 2. Asked the gate agent, and she said it's like that on every flight right now. So again, we're backed up in the jetway, which in and of itself is not a huge problem, big deal. But the issue is that this is not how Southwest has historically boarded their flights. The first A1 through 30, they would have just dispersed throughout the plane, but now there's creating this logjam at the beginning. And so yes, I realize first world problems. It's not really a a problem. It's just something to think about when Southwest is looking at how best to board their flights and how to avoid online criticism. As a Southwest super fan, I would prefer that Southwest maintain a business model that's traveler friendly and helps them to stand out. The third way I would change the boarding process, it's really the pre-flight experience when purchasing a flight. I think that basic fare, yes, you get your seat assigned at check-in, no guarantees, but the second fare, I think that there should be a greater number of rows and seats to choose from. So what I noticed today when I boarded the flight is that like 25, 26 out of the 30 people ahead of me were all in the first 6 rows. Where in the past with the Southwest boarding process, people would spread out until they were forced to cram in. The look left, look right, that center seat you're looking at is yours. Well, now people are cramming into the front 6 rows instead of spreading out all the way throughout the cabin like open seating would allow. And so that's really where they've missed the mark on assigning the different boarding groups, is that they are not evenly dispersing the people throughout the plane. And our travels bring us to Nashville, Tennessee, the B&A airport. And so we'll see what boarding looks like here as we continue the trip back to Dallas Love Field. A couple of thoughts. Had a flight this morning from Reagan National to Nashville. And one of the things I noticed is that the flight only had about probably 40 people, give or take. And it was the plane, the larger plane that has 175 seats. And again, there was people in the front, and then there was people 3 to a row in the back, and there was probably 18 empty rows, but you still had people crowded 3 to a back. So the one benefit of the assigned seating is that now you can check up to an hour before the flight if there are seats available. And so this is what the front of the plane looked like this morning. So I was in 6C, and so I could have really chosen any seat that I wanted up at the front since I'm A-list preferred. But if you look at the back, this is where you see that rows 22, 23, 24, and 25, and then 29 were all taken, all 3 seats. And so you have rows 28, half of 27, most of 20, and then everything from 14 up that is almost completely empty, but yet you have people sitting 3 to a row. So pro tip, even if you choose the second level of fare that allows you to choose one of these free seats at the back of the plane, an hour before the flight, go ahead and look and see, you know, somebody who was in the middle seat in 24 could have moved up to say 20B or back to 27D and gotten an aisle seat. And so that's as long as you book that second level fare that allows you to select a seat. If you choose the basic fare, you are at the liberty of Southwest Airlines to assign you a seat, and they're probably going to assign you a center seat from what I've heard. All right, we got group 1 and 2. Today it's a more even split. It's more half and half, maybe 20 on one side, 10 on the other. So maybe they're making some improvements on the group numbers. All right, still a little bit of a log jam as we're getting on the plane, as we have experienced in other instances. And again, I think it's because the old Southwest model was spread out until you have to cram in, and now it's cram in, and we're not going to let you spread out because you have assigned seats. All right, people in the first 6 rows are having to put their bags back that way because all the bins are full again in the front. So that's the common complaint right now. Back at Dallas Love Field, let's do a quick summary. I think there's really 3 to 4 things Southwest can do to enhance their new process. The first would be minimize the number of people in group 1. Don't have 40 in group 1 and 1 in group 2. That doesn't help. Number 2 is have A-list preferred in 1, A-list in 2. Everybody else after that. That puts the frequent travelers who know what they're doing on the plane first. The third thing would be to allow bags to fly free again. Not going to happen. No way it happens, but that would be my recommendation. And so I think the first 2 is really just getting a handle on who's in what group, how many are in each group, that will go the farthest. And then also to spread out the people in the boarding groups so that you're not boarding the first 6 rows at one time, that you're boarding staggered rows and making sure that people that are sitting in the back don't put their rows or their bags in the front rows. That's another big complaint right now. So with those tips, I think Southwest can have a little bit better boarding process again. I wish they would go back, just because they historically have had such an efficient boarding process compared to the other airlines. And even today, getting off the plane, there was probably 4, 6, 8, 10 people that are having to go back against the grain to get their bags, me being one of them. And it just creates another logjam as you're getting off the plane as well. So we'll check back in next week. See you next time.